The VC show, let's go, doing the part with Roz. We got the sports on deck for our audience. Whether it's big news, hot topics, updates, straight facts, storytelling, breakdowns, or special guests. VC show, let's go, it's time to turn it out. The VC show, let's go. Yo, welcome to the VC show presented by Caesar Sportsbook on Omaha Audio. I'm VC. Roz is out doing what Roz does, but I have a special guest today for you guys. Man, where do I start? An all-star. He made the all-defensive team, a fellow Twyman Stokes award winner. He's a teammate guy. He's a team guy. That's why I like him. He's also the point guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves and also my former teammate, the Memphis Grizzlies. I call him Money Mike, but you guys know him as Mike Conley. Mike, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for taking the time out to join us. I know you're a busy guy, either you're probably on online Call of Duty or on your simulator or something, but man, appreciate the time, man. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. I appreciate you inviting me out, and
Yes,
I take a break anytime for you, bro.
Yeah, but hey, what's the off season looking like for you right now?
Oh man, chilling with the family right now, bro. Like,
hey, it's like real recovery this year because like you're the old guy, if you would. You used to tell me and make fun of me about being the old guy in the locker room, and now that you are in that position, like. How are you handling that? I know we talked along the year, but like, how are you really handling that?
It's low key kind of scary, bro. Like, it's like, I don't know if I'm having some kind of midlife crisis or something, but I'm like paranoid. I'm anxious. Like, it's just like, man, you can kind of see the end coming near, and players
you're on that other side.
You're on the other side, and players are referring to you as like Unc and OG and all these different names. I'm just like, man, I'm not ready. Like I'm used to looking up to my vets, and I don't have no vets no more, man. It's just me.
And I looked at I look at that like I take a trip back when I started hearing constantly about being the OG and the oldest guy. I became the oldest guy in the league, but you're not there yet. I know you and know your faces too. But it's like I remember I was the youngest guy, then I was like in the middle, then I was close to one of the oldest, then I became the oldest in the locker room, then I became the oldest in the league, and it was just like I said, it's a scary roller coaster ride, but it's also a testament, for you being able to last that long, standing the test of times, all that you've done, a lot of games that you've played. Like, you're here now, though.
Yeah, man. And, thanks to you and all the advice you gave me, guys like Tayshaun Prince, all my vets, man, took care of me as a youngster. And the number one thing y'all told me is take care of that body. And,
it's going to come fast. Like, the end gets here. You get to be a young guy, man, but being the old guy happens quickly.
Man, and like you said, it is a testament, man. I got a lot of respect for guys who can play a long time and show that they can still compete with these young fellas.
What has been the hardest adjustment for you as far as like, is it back? I'm sure back to backs, but is it back? Okay, is it back to backs or is it like the 4 and 5 nights?
Probably the both. Can I choose both? Probably the 4 and 5 nights though. To be real, this year was probably my first season, the last few where I played, pretty much all the back-to-backs, and that third and fourth game is completely different than what it was 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And like we talked about, that third and fourth game, you're going against 21, 22-year-olds who can run laps, in their sleep. So,
and you're at the point guard position at that.
yeah, at the point guard position ain't no joke. So, trying to get that rest and sleep and recovery is the biggest thing, obviously, in those 4 and 5.
Well, I'll tell you, like, I tell a lot of guys, like, it was a secret that, not really a secret, like a lot of track athletes are using, take a bag of ice and kind of stick it on your pelvis with your legs up. That helps you drain your legs, for you to keep going. So that's something you should try in between back-to-backs, and it helps it for faster recovery. I feel like I'm giving you this secret, but if whoever's listening to this, other guys, they're going to kind of get it too. But you're the OG, and we teammates, so I'm trying to help. And it's gonna work. It's gonna feel uncomfortable at first. You're like, bro, what is he doing? But the recovery time, because you're getting rid of all that lactic acid, I think you'll like it, man.
Bro, I needed that like a month ago. What's up, man? You just gonna wait? You just saving them secrets, man? I needed that against Jokic.
Yeah. My bad. It's always next year. Hey, but now you have it for the whole season.
Yeah, right.
But speaking of Jokic, man, what were your thoughts, on the finals? Like, I mean, it was just crazy to see. Obviously, you guys played them early in the playoffs, and to sit back and watch. I mean, did you watch all of the playoffs? Because I know sometimes as players, you lose in an early round or whatever, and you don't want to watch the next round.
Right.
But did you actually watch?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't watch a game for at least up until the conference finals, midway through the conference finals, and caught half of the finals. Like caught a little bit of last night's game, but as you know, it's real tough to watch.
Absolutely.
Especially at this stage of my career, it's like, man, like, yeah, I wish that was me. Like I wish that was me. I wish I was able to be out there, and so I just try to subtract myself from the situation as much as I can and stay as far away from it. But same time, it draws you to it. This series was an exciting one because you're, for me, being able to have played against Denver, and to see a team that ultimately put us out to go all the way and play against a talented team like Miami, it was a fun situation to have to be a part of.
Did you think when you played them at that point, did you think that the outcome for them could be this? They could end up champions. I mean, they looked very good all playoffs. I mean, all season they were good. We just, when I say we on the other side, we didn't give them their props. I mean, it's tough when you're on the East Coast to watch West Coast games, late, and it's typically, the Denver. I mean, obviously you're gonna stay up to see what you want to see, but everybody wouldn't say, "Ooh, let me go watch Denver." But at the same time, they stayed true to who they were. And for you getting the up close person, like, did you say after that series, or feel after that series, like this team could possibly get it done?
For sure. For sure. Yeah. That team. I mean, all year they were just so overlooked and underrated, and yet they were the number one seed. It didn't make sense,
Yes.
and you know what I mean. And we played against them, and the way that they handled themselves, the way that they played together as a team, they were the best, quote unquote team, like chemistry wise in the league, and clicking on all cylinders, and it was a fun competition to be able to compete against those guys. But man, they were really special.
We talk about duos and that 1-2 punch. You've played a long time. We've played a long time, and you see duos that do it individually and not like you like. I mean, yeah, sometimes you have guys that play the same position, but you can still be a monster with like a Tatum Brown pick and roll. Like you got to decide how you're going to guard that. I think. Do you think one of the best duos in the league? Do you put them up there, Jokic and Jamal Murray? And I asked that question because I feel I'll go first. I just feel like not only are they great individually, but they're hard to stop as a duo working together. Because not only do they utilize each other and create for each other, they create for the other guy when you make a mistake.
Right. What was interesting is they reminded me a little bit of how Marc Gasol and myself and the Grizzlies played for a little bit. How we kind of used our big as like the focal point, and let it guys kind of ran around and cut and spaced, and but they just so much better at it. It seemed like Jokic being an MVP, Jamal being one of the best players in the playoffs and in the league this year, and continually getting better, and their supporting cast was awesome as well. So it was unbelievable to see their growth and to see them over the last few years and few playoffs. Now that Jamal is back healthy, finally kind of get the recognition they deserve as being one of the better duos in the league.
How do you feel about? Well, is it too soon to really? I know how I feel about this. Is it too soon to kind of if you look at what's talked about today, leading up into we're throwing Jokic in the conversation of the best centers or greatest centers? Is it too soon? I'm a guy that feels like it's too soon. Yes, we got to enjoy what we're seeing, but give him time. Let's give him time to create, this wonderful story, which he is doing already. But give him time. I think I don't think we're putting pressure on him because he's a guy that kind of like, he's not really into that. Like it's like, the one thing I admired about Jokic last night is that the two things. and I'm gonna go backwards. When they were trying to take the team picture, they were trying to get him to sit down. And he's like, "Yeah, y'all go ahead. Y'all sit down. Y'all go ahead." For one, he wins the award. He holds it up. He wins MVP. Holds the trophy up. Puts it down. And he goes walking in the back. Like, you don't see that. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, if that's me, man, I'm clutching this thing like this is my baby. No, wherever I go, we going. You know what I'm saying? And he was just kind of like, yeah. He had the interview with Malika. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it is. I put it down on the table, and like he says it'll get returned to me or delivered to my house at some point. Like I just feel like he doesn't care about that. So I'm just like, just let him create his story. I think it's fun to talk about now, about what he is and what he's done. But let's kind of just see what this looks like later on, and then kind of just throw. I think we try to throw all the time where guys fall early in their career, in middle of their career, but let's just see what the chapters are looking like until until finish. What are your thoughts?
Right. No, we discussed this as a family, my cousins, all my basketball people around. We all talk about this, and I've got an older uncle, cousin, who's in the same boat as you, who's like, man, just let him play it out. Like, we're ready to crown people like right away as a rookie or as a second-year player, as a fifth-year, sixth-year player, and say he's better than this person or that person, and you just got to let their careers play out. And then once you have both sets of information, you can kind of
exactly the key word. You have you have real information.
Right. So you let that happen, and then you go from there. But on the trajectory that he's currently at, he deserves to be mentioned in those names.
Absolutely.
At some point in his career, for sure.
100%. Yeah, and I think now, like I think you can say like he has flashes. What he's doing is definitely on pace to be one of the best ever in his position, like bar none. I mean, what he's doing, Richard Jefferson had a breakdown today of his numbers and what he did, and his comparisons to, I think it was Durant, Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, and I can't remember the other one, but his numbers, like compared to first-time MVPs, were as good, if not better, than all these guys. So yes, rightfully so, we talk about Jokic like that. But I'm interested to see where he goes from here, because he's just, he's such a humble guy, and I think he wants to continue to win. But like, you could see like Mike Malone, that guy wants to win. Like you see the fire in him, which I think will ignite everyone else. But it's just, he's an interesting superstar, and you would agree. And you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But yes, I think Joel Embiid was the best. Played unbelievable, and he deserved his MVP. But Nikola Jokic, bar none, the best player in the league right now.
Yeah, I pre-playoffs, I had chosen Joel as my guy that I thought would win the MVP, just from how he had played throughout the season, and Jokic was right there too, Giannis right there, all those guys. But right now, obviously, Jokic is something else. He's super special, obviously.
So good to where people are questioning, did we make the right pick in the regular season? So, and I think for me, I would like to see, and obviously NBA won't listen to me, but I think with these awards, it kind of gets cluttered because we look at the body of work of the season, and I think they announce the awards so late to where we as fans, they carry it over into the playoffs because of what we're seeing in the playoffs now. And we have to understand it's a regular season award, and I feel like that award should happen shortly thereafter to kind of kill the noise of how people think about the awards that are given, because we're starting to look at, you look at Embiid, and everybody's like, oh man, Jokic is way better because look at how far they've gone. But it's like it's a regular season award. It's not an entirety, award. It's just, so I think that's one thing I would like to see the NBA fix.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think that would give a good buffer in between.
And it'll give some separation. I agree.
Yeah, give that separation for sure.
And as a point guard, I got to give Jamal Murray. I tweeted last night after the game. I was like, I threw out Kitchener, like where he's from. Jamal Murray, what he's gone through and he could have easily just been a shell of himself off of frustration, all of the tough times, tough outs he's had over his career, and yet he came back a monster, and he was playing like lights out. I'm not saying he would be MVP because I thought Jokic was, but like he wasn't far behind.
No, he might have been just as important as Jokic, and
yes,
when we played against him in the playoffs and you saw things he was doing, it was so reminiscent of the bubble. When him and Don were exchanging blows and going back and forth, and
that was a crazy one.
Having incredible game after incredible game, and he was doing the same thing, like the shot making that he was doing and the things that he was creating. Because we had guys on our team that were defending and playing really well, and it just didn't matter at certain times. And it was a pretty remarkable run, and to see him to get back to where he's at now after having a major injury like that, like you said, it's a testament to him, because that's as that's that road to recovery and the injury and what you used to be and all these things that pop in your mind when you have an injury and coming back from it, all are real. And he dealt with it, and look at him now.
Why should you bet with Caesars Sportsbook? 2 words: Caesars Rewards. Every bet brings you closer to the types of benefits only Caesars can offer. Hotel stays, VIP experiences, sports and concert tickets, and more. It's not just an app, it's an empire. Can you feel that sizzle? The summer is heating up, and so are the savings with Summer of Dash Pass from DoorDash. Now through July 19th, you can save big on your favorite summer essentials or get groceries for your next summer barbecue right to your door with a Dash Pass membership. With Summer of Dash Pass, you'll enjoy $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees on all eligible orders, making it easier and more affordable than ever to stock up on all your favorite summer essentials. But that's not all. You'll also get access to thousands of offers nationwide, ensuring that this summer is one to remember. So kick back, relax, and let Dash Pass help you experience the best of your neighborhood for less. Get ready to lower your costs and raise the bar this summer with limited edition drops and exclusive items to level up all season long. Experience a summer like no other. Best your best summer with a Dash Pass membership from DoorDash today. Sign up for Dash Pass now and you'll get your first month free. Plus, when you use our promo code, get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your next Dash Pass order. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code VCShowSummer. That's 50% off when you spend $10 or more on your next Dash Pass order when you download the DoorDash app and enter code VCShowSummer. Don't forget the code VCShowSummer for 50% off your next order. Subject to change. Terms apply.
Kick your feet up, you can find us on all platforms. And that form, so be the hottest on them platforms. Your family now, got you listen to what we talking about. The VC Show, let's go, it's time to turn it out. The VC Show, let's go, let's go. The VC Show, let's go.
Well, let's talk about your team, man, because I'll tell you what, man. What you've done, and when you got there, I knew, just like I knew once you got to Utah, what you would bring to Donovan Mitchell. And I told people, and I had a couple of your games obviously in Utah, and I knew, what you would bring, and you could see the difference in Don and how he began to see the game. He got to see it as a superstar scorer, but he kind of took on your mentality as far as understanding the game, facilitator, blah, blah, blah. And you can see immediately the calm that you brought to the Timberwolves once you got there. Was the adjustment period? I mean, you've been around, I get it, but at the same time, this question is still a valid question because you're still dealing with young guys.
Right.
Was it a tough transition for you getting there mid-season, trying to get guys to understand the type of guy that you are? Because for me, or veterans who've been there, understand it, but it's like, all right, vet coming in, cool, and then all of a sudden, eventually they buy in, but it seems like they bought in immediately. Like, how were you able to kind of get guys to kind of listen and buy in, or, just allow you to be a vet?
It's a great question because this was a whole new situation for me getting traded at, the deadline mid-season. And those guys, really I give the credit to the team and the coaches. They just accepted me right away. Like they jumped on board. They gave me even more confidence to say, hey, Mike, be more aggressive, be more assertive. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I yell at you. I yell at you all the time, bro. Just so you know,
Right.
Nothing's changed. I yell at you all the time. I know what kind of guy you are, and I love it. But sometimes I'm like, bro, you can go get you a bucket straight up.
I know. I tell I tell my teammates that when they need me, I'll go after it. But for the most part, I'm trying to set the table and get guys involved. And
sure.
But just coming in as a vet, trying with this young team and quite frankly, man, we have so many dynamic players, and we just ran through some bad luck with some injuries there at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. But we felt like we were hitting our stride at the right time, and we've got something to build forward on. And it was an exciting opportunity for me to work with Ant, to work with Jaden, Nas, Kat. I mean, be back with Rudy. There's so many great guys on the team, and they're all willing to learn and listen. So it's a really cool environment.
I love it, man. Tell me about Ant, man. What is it like about him? He's fearless. It seems like he loves to play. He just wants to compete. One thing I really enjoyed about him is he kind of has that old school thought and mentality about wanting to play. Like, when you're young, you utilize it. I mean, I know you don't want to wear your guys out, but at the same time, he's like, I want to play. I'm trying to play, as many games as possible. You know what I'm saying? To keep that rhythm. I mean, but like, what is it about him that you really liked or what did you learn about him when you got there that you didn't know? Like, it's one thing we see, like I see him on the outside looking in, but it's another thing when you get there, you're like, bro, even better than what I thought.
Right. I think one was, first off, his mentality. Like, he has a mentality like, some of the guys, the greats have, where they're like, man, I want to guard him. Like, I know he's the best player. I want him tonight. Like, I know I'm the best offensive player on our team, but I want to take that matchup. I want to do this. Like, he takes every single challenge. Like, every single minute of every game is like important to him, and that's like, it's not normal to me to see that from a lot of guys, and especially that young, and to grasp that aspect of it at a young age is important. And his defense and his ability to score, shot making, his physicality, like he plays with aggression, he plays with an edge, and all those things you really can't teach, and that's what's makes him special, and the fact that he's only 21, hopefully he's going to continue to get better.
Which is crazy. Like, he's been, this is like, he has 2-3 years in now. He's 21. He's 21.
I think he's 21. He could be 19 or 20. I don't know how old he is now, but
yeah, regardless, he's somewhere between 20 and 22. Not even 22. like it's just, and you can just see his growth and his confidence. And I like to see young guys kind of take control, that they're willing, they're directing traffic with you. And I think that's a testament to you as well, because they have someone to learn from. Because it's easy as a coach to go tell a player, or whatever. I've walked in locker rooms and say, I remember, I'm a name drop a little bit. I remember I told De'Aaron Fox as a rookie the first time I met him, I went to a summer league game and watching him, and in a timeout, I'm like, go talk to your team. Use your voice. Go, same thing I did with Trey. And you're starting to see that with Ant a little bit, even if you don't know what to say, just say something. Right. Say something, right. Kind of, and that's how you get your guys to trust you and follow you and believe you. Because I know, and I've heard his work ethic, and I know he loves the game. Now use your voice. Use your voice as well, and be a leader that way. So sometimes, yes, I got to get guys lead by example, but sometimes your voice needs to be heard. And I think, seeing throughout the course of the year, more so the end of the year, you started to see that more. He's going to guys, he's saying something to guys, and when he makes a bad play, he's allowing you and others to talk to him. That is growth. That is growth, and that says a lot about him. And that's dangerous to me for the league, because when you got a young guy who will buy in and allowing constructive criticism in a heat of battle, is different.
Right.
When you're watching film in practice, as you know, and in an off night. But when you're doing a game, when you having a bad night and you still allow constructive criticism, that says a lot.
It does. He's accountable, man. He's accountable.
Yeah, man.
he's the first one to say that he's the guy that missed the rotation or messed up. Like, he don't point fingers. Like, he comes in the locker room and say, I'm gonna be better. Like, I'm gonna start with that, and then he'll say something to the rest of the guys. Like, that's a true leader, and to be a young one, not only as a leader on the court as far as an example and the way he works, but his voice and his understanding of the game. I think the better he understands the game, which I think he's going to continually get better at, the easier it is to talk to people. The easier it is to correct somebody when you know literally every part of the offense, every part of a defensive scheme, or the playbook, or
how you watch film.
Right.
How you watch film, right? Yeah.
Like, all that. Like, once you know all that, like, you can stop something and say, yo, we got to be here, like, instead of there. Like, that stuff is huge.
Does it make you proud? Because, like, I know you, and I know you don't want to admit it, but at the same time, when you hear, you see who he was as a player, and see who he's become since. And I'm just judging off of, time there, but since you've been there, that's when the growth has happened, in my opinion. Does that make you feel good? Like, because as a vet, you're a vet, like you're a vet that it makes you feel good. It's what you want to do as a player, because you're naturally like that. You want to help people grow. So that's a great feeling it was a great feeling for me when young guys would allow me to have constructive criticism, have conversations about whatever, and they grow from it. And how does that make you? I mean, obviously it makes you feel good, but like, you sit back like a proud uncle, like he finally gets it.
Right. No, man, I call them, it's like having kids, man. It's like, a bunch of these kids running around, and you tell them over and over again to do something, and they finally do it, and you just like, yes, there's hope. We're going in the right direction. But no, they're, it's great to know that, you're helping people along the way, because that's all I really care about. Like, I don't really...
And Mike, your voice matters.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to say something, and they're listening. They're retaining it, as opposed to it going in one ear, out the other. That's when you're in trouble as a vet. Right. When you kind of lose your voice in the locker room. And I've told a lot of guys, mostly point guards, but I've told them, young guys in general, whoever's listening, whoever knows somebody, you don't want to lose your locker room as a point guard or a superstar or the best player or whatever. You don't want to be able to step at one point when you have something to say, you say it and nobody listens. Your voice doesn't matter anymore. So, that says a lot about what you've done. So.
Yeah, thank you. And you also don't want to be that guy that your voice gets drowned out because you talk too much. You've been around some teammates that just every single thing
overdo it.
Is just, they say something. It's like, man, you got to know when to step back.
And it's mostly negative.
Right. It's going to be mostly negative. So step back, be quiet, or let somebody else handle it. If somebody else brings up the point, let it go and work that way.
Did you know YouTube TV is more than cable for less than cable? That's right. YouTube TV has no long-term contracts or hidden fees. And it even lets you catch up to the live game with key plays. With a lineup of over 100 channels, you can watch live TV like cable. Signing up is simple. Get started in minutes, and you can watch all the action of the NBA Finals live on ABC. So what are you waiting for? Try it free today at youtube.com/NBA23. New users only. Terms apply. Cancel anytime. They call it running a business for a reason. Because every day feels like a sprint to the finish. It takes a lot of work to make it all work. But with Clover and Merchant One, you're always a step ahead. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your point-of-sale technology. We make it easy to accept payments, run your entire business, and sell more. Clover plus Merchant One, better business solutions. Go to clover.com/M1 to get started. Let's talk about the draft real quick. It's approaching us, and it's literally around the corner. What are your thoughts on Victor Wembanyama?
I'm impressed right now. I don't know what else to say. I
love to hear that. I love to hear that.
I am. Just from
what
talent.
You've seen.
Yeah. From pure talent. It's like I'm not even sure how it works in the league, just because I've never seen it like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't even know like who guards him. Do a traditional 5-man guard him? Is it like, you're 3-man?
You better be mobile
guarding him, right? So I don't know how. I don't know what it looks like yet. So I'm really interested in getting to see him suit up and compete against him and see what he can bring to the game.
Well, it's so interesting to me because you will for sure remember this. You're gonna probably laugh when I say it, but it's like you can see the changing of the time. You think about how basketball used to be. When I came in, you remember how the grit and grind was, and then you kind of see the changing of the guard on how you play the game. Meaning, it wasn't just a stretch four; it became a stretch five. So we think about, shout out to Coach Fizdale. He comes into our locker room and he changes the kind of grit and grind to become, we have to shoot more threes. I remember he's like, he had the core guys. He's like, guys, we got to shoot more threes.
Right.
Some guys bought into it. Some guys didn't or didn't want to because it just wasn't what it was. And because that's where the game was going. And it was like, all right, cool. Cool. And I remember, I'll say it. Mark wasn't really up for it at first because it's like the way the game used to be and the way the game was becoming. And that was almost 10 years ago now. And look at it now. Like, that's the norm. Like, that is understood. You come in, there's a very few guys that at the five position that don't shoot the three.
Right.
Who isn't a stretch five anymore. So it's just funny how to see that. And then you're getting these unicorns, like Wembanyama, like a Bobo, like a Chet Holmgren. These guys are 7+ with a handle, with a fadeaway jump shot, not a jump shot, a fadeaway. Like, these guys are shooting off balance. So it's just amazing to see where the game is going. And I come into the league, for sure. Those three guys that I named will be a center for sure. However you look at it, shoot a three, no way. Much less shoot a jump shot outside of the paint. So it's just the evolution of the game. And man, I think when he gets to this league, whether he's successful or not, his skill set that we see is going to do a lot for the next generation of guys, because there's going to be this 7-foot kid who's like, all right, let me start working on my handle because I can be like those three guys that we named. Because Bobo had a very good year this year. From what we're starting to see, his ability, his ability to shoot. We're going to see that from Chet. You're going to now see that from this. So you're going to have three guys who are built like that. Who are going to do something like you would think. This is what small forwards do.
Right. And this is, I'm glad I'll be retiring in the next 5 years, hopefully, that I don't got to deal with these guys, man. It's going to be a league.
You have to deal with it for 5 years.
Hey, listen, man, I won't even put a number. I'll play for another 10. It don't matter. But these guys are changing the way we view basketball and, just changing the game as we go forward. So it's going to be interesting to see it continually change. And like you said before, it's tough coming from a different style and different eras of basketball, and things have to shift on you mid career or close to the end of the career. So, it's what's the next evolution? What's the next change? Like, what's it going to be? And are all point guards going to now be 6'7" and 6'8", or are we going to, who knows? So like, it's just like constantly evolving, and it's a trendy game. We all kind of mimic each other.
It's gotten faster.
Right.
It's getting
fast. That's another thing.
Like, if you're averaging 104, 105 points a game, like, you're struggling. Like, that's like you're not getting it done offensively.
I saw it was fun. I saw like a 2012, 13, maybe playoff like stat sheet from like one of our games, and it was like we had like three guys with like 8 shot attempts. And that was like Zach, Mark, me. And it was, you know what I mean? Like today, that's like probably like 18, 16, 16, you know what I mean? Like it's completely different. And it was just crazy to see that bit of evolution there within like 8-9 years. So.
And what did that score look like? You know what I'm saying? Like
85.
Just like when I came in, yeah, that's what it looked like for us. Like, especially the Eastern Conference, we're in the 80s, 90s. If you were hitting 95, you were doing it. You were doing it. That's because it was more of a half court game, and obviously the game has gotten faster. They've done a great job of just making the game fun to watch. It's up and down. It's a lot of possessions. As a defender, boy, like you mentioned it, it's a little tougher. Like, you have playing the point guard position. There's so many guys like a Steph who doesn't slow down, like Trey, or Dame who pulls up from deep. Trey pulls up from deep and he's fast. Steph, the same thing, a lot of movement. Like, it's point guards, like you said, point guards now. Your traditional point guard. Magic was that outlier for like 6'9", right. But like you're starting to see more guys like a Luka playing. So now you're like, all right, well, who's the two? who's the two?
Right. Let me guard that guy because I don't want to have to be, posted up by Luka and him pass over the top. Like, it's just a completely different outlook on the game. Like, the matchups aren't the same how they used to be. You can't just match up straight across the board like everybody wants to on paper and wants you to guard this person.
Those days are over.
It's over, bro. Like, it's just you guard whatever the best matchup is for that night, and it's just a unique situation to be in.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of unique, I think this summer free agency will be very interesting to me, because of teams who are right there, teams who are looking for another piece. And, we talked about point guards. There's a lot of point guards out there, CP, Kyrie, Harden, Fred VanVleet now. Like,
Fred VanVleet.
It is very interesting to see what comes of it, because it's like, obviously these guys, I mean, you put the right fit and it changes the outlook of a conference more so than the league. Right. I mean, the conference, and then later on, but it's just like, you look at what the Lakers did early in the year, and it's like, okay, it didn't work, but they were able to change. And we've heard CP, Kyrie, and Fred, put to that team. So it's just like, what's the right fit? Because I tell you what, you say what you want. I mean, the league in general, I enjoyed as a fan. You're the player, so you don't have to answer this more so than me. As a fan and calling games and talking about the game, I enjoyed the parity. Yeah. I enjoyed the parity because it was like, it's easy to sit here in years past, it's like, oh, yep, Golden State and who else? Yeah, for a while it was like Golden State and Cleveland. Like, right. That's just what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was already understood. And this year, being in TV, we have to kind of give our opinions at the point. It's like, oh, who do you think going to win? And there's a lot of us that sometimes we really don't know because it's of the parity. Like, we really, of the parity. And I want some of the players to understand, like, some people are like, oh, you get mad at us because we choose. It's like, we have to choose, but like, we don't know, like, the parity, because it's just like, you look at Sacramento and, a lot of people, like, giving Sacramento, like, oh man, Sacramento's going to take this at least 5 to maybe 7. And people are like, no way. But it's like the parity. It's like they are a good team. And they took it to 7, so it was, I think this is great for the league right now, because it's not like front loaded for 8 teams. It's like literally 15, 20 teams that are going to be competitive. And, obviously it's going to come down to 8 teams that probably have a legitimate shot, maybe more, but like, that's a great number. So I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I guarantee you, bro. Like I said, half the league is going into the off season, all looking at each other like, man, it's wide open. Like,
literally feeling like they have a chance. Like, it's not just talk this year.
No, everybody does like go like playoffs this year. Even everybody was like, man, you just never know. You never know. You get the right matchup. All the teams are that talented. That kind of, the rosters are built well. And think about what a different team win it.
And just think about what the CBA has done, and you won't see like the big threes as much now, unless you're willing to pay the money. But which is going to increase the parity a little more. Yeah, you'll see duos, but you won't see the trios as much. So it's on GMs to really piece the puzzles together, and and then it becomes on coaches to really make it work with what you have. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see it, man. So
yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. More from Mike Conley coming soon, part 2. Stay tuned. All right, we're out.